on our little thing is like Jason Williams, who we both agree, I think would be maybe the number one most beloved Sacramento King of all time, just doesn't come here at all.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness to Jason, it seemed like he don't leave Florida. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't go nowhere. And I feel like, I think I heard somewhere where they, invited him here, they've reached out. And he's like, I love you guys. It's all good, but no thanks. Not coming back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't feel like he was here for that last game at Arco. Like he was one of the guys who didn't.
No, he wasn't.
I don't think he came. Like everybody else was, but he wasn't here.
Yeah, he wasn't there. Was Mitch here? I don't think Mitch was here. Because I feel like Bibby was the biggest person that came back.
Yeah.
Because Chris wasn't there.
I can't remember if Mitch was here or not. Yeah, Chris wasn't here.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a unique. He's a unique dude.
He is. He's just Jay Will. Like I think all the fame and all this other stuff, like he's cool with it, you know what I mean? But he ain't. Nah, he's an old. I say this affectionately, an old country boy.
Mm-hmm. Man, Ramsey's already worked up about Bauer. Bauer headed. Well, actually, I shouldn't even say he's worked up. I don't even. Ramsey, what team are you a fan of when it comes to baseball?
Ramsey, I still haven't watched that game yet. I'm gonna watch it tonight. Okay, maybe after I finish Yokozuna, but I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Bro, you gotta finish Yokozuna, man.
Yeah, I'm finishing Yokozuna.
You've got to finish Yokozuna, right? That's one of the first times that I feel like they took true advantage of their library, like airing like dark matches, like the clips that they showed were good, man.
I saw a couple of those. Yeah.
And a very happy Friday to everybody except Giants fans. Sorry about that.
We don't care. We don't care. It's whatever. It's whatever. It really is.
Trevor Bauer is headed to the Los Angeles Dodgers because they really needed him.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. They just let the Dodgers do all this stuff. The Giants, Farhan, Larry Bear, they just let the Dodgers do whatever. They don't never go after nobody.
I purposely mentioned this at the start of the show so we could get it out of the way and my partner could vent and be frustrated and upset. Oh, if it doesn't feel like the Giants are ever going to win. Dude, the Dodgers are loaded, bro.
I mean, when we try to get out there and we as a Giants fan and as fan base and the organization, when we care about what is it, VORP, VBIP, whatever it is, when that ranks more highly in the president's presence of getting somebody that, I don't know, strikes people out, I don't know, hits home runs, gets RBIs, this is what you're going to get. They're the cheapest rich team I've ever seen in my life.
Go get Deshaun Watson.
No, his FBIP wouldn't be good enough.
Go get Russell Wilson. I heard he's a baseball player. Yes. I don't know, but Trevor Bauer's headed to the Dodgers. That news just came in just moments ago. We're thrilled that you're here with us on our Friday episode of D'Lo and KC. That is a very frustrated Giants fan, Kenny Caraway. I am Damian Barling. We welcome those watching on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, watching on YouTube. Some of you may even be watching on Twitter. We appreciate that. Make sure you're following us on all those platforms. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button as well. If you head over to Twitch, make sure that you follow us on that platform also. Marshall Harris will be with us here on the video stream as he is each and every Friday. Coming up at 1:30, we've got Super Bowl talk as the Chiefs and the Bucks. That game is here finally this weekend. We'll talk about that. And we've got a big weekend for the Sacramento Kings as well. If they got they actually play Sunday too. So there's no pregame coverage for Sacramento Kings fans headed into that Super Bowl because they've got the Nuggets on Saturday. and they've got the Clippers on Sunday.
Sorry, Jason. Sorry, Deuce Mason. Sorry.
Ooh. What do you mean? Oh, because they got to work?
Yeah, they're upset. Oh, before the Super Bowl, we got to work. Look, I'm just going to be enjoying it. I'm going to be watching it. I might have a little taste.
A little beverage or
right
two.
Next thing, Steve Weiser, maybe. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, that'll be a good day for sure for Kings fans with basketball to start the afternoon, and then just head into the biggest television event of the year with the Super Bowl. This is tough, man. This is a tough weekend ahead, and it started with Boston, and I'm not going to diminish their win by saying they got bailed out by injuries and they got bailed out by people not playing. I'm not going to diminish what they did. Like that was a tough team that they played. They stepped out there, they got the job done. They've got a Nuggets team that I got to imagine is gunning for them.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Nuggets have to be fuming. They're not playing bad, but they're probably not playing what we thought they would, and I'm confident they're not playing what they thought they would be. They're not where they thought they would be at. So, maybe their focus isn't necessarily, we've got to get the Kings back for beating us twice. It's more like, dude, we've got to string together a couple of wins in a row here, because they I think they lost last night, and it's just not rolling for them right now.
I think at one point they went in half up 12 or something like that, and the Lakers flipped that like in the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, to go up by 10 or something like that. So the Nuggets, I agree with you. They're going to be out for blood against these Kings, as much as you can in the regular season, right? Like,
sure.
It's the regular season. But they want to say, hey, you got 2 wins on us. We got to dead all that. We know Mike Malone always loves to beat the Sacramento Kings and hates when he loses to Sacramento Kings. So he's going to be fired up, and he's going to try and rub that off on his team. But the thing with the Denver Nuggets is, I just don't know how good they are. I know the Joker is who he is, an MVP candidate, your reigning player of the month in the Western Conference. But something about him and Jamal Murray just hasn't, we mentioned this a long time ago, Damian. It seems like they can't never really get active at the same time. It's either one is really hot and the other's playing the backseat, or, vice versa. So I'm looking out for that. My man, Michael Porter Jr., I mean, he can go off for 30 at any time.
But aside from
that, that's my guy, Michael Porter Jr., on the basketball court. But aside from that, I still believe the same thing I believed at the beginning of the season when the Kings went up against them. It was one of my first Kenny Keys. They're not very deep. Outside of those 3, they don't have a lot that scares you. I like Monte Morris. I like Gary Harris, but they're not. I mean, these guys aren't going to do it to you. I like Will Barton, but they're not going.
But they don't have to do it to. They just have to be good. Like they have to have they have to have a role, and maybe
sometimes they're not bad.
But maybe what you're saying more is their role defined? Do they know what their role is?
Yeah. I mean, I think somebody like
I don't
Will
think
Barton
they're meant
does.
to be the hitters. Like Jokic is the hitter.
Right.
Murray's the hitter. And
right.
Michael Porter Jr. is absolutely emerging as a hitter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I don't know. I look at that Denver squad. I feel like they're missing a little something to being so like it's a completely different vibe that I have for the Clippers game on Sunday. I'm looking at that like I don't know. I don't know what the Kings do with the Clippers. The Clippers own the Kings, right? Don't necessarily have that vibe with Denver.
You want the Kings to have that mentality that Denver might have against them where, okay, this team got us twice, like we've got to get them back. Whereas I think the Kings not only have been beaten by the Clippers twice, I think they've gotten beaten down by the Clippers twice. And this one's in LA. So yeah, you've got the game at the Golden One Center right on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then you take the flight down to Los Angeles, and then you play the Clippers on Sunday. And hop back on a plane. I think they come home after that. I'll have to pull up the schedule here.
Yeah, they got Philly on
That's right,
Tuesday.
Philly on Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So it's a tough weekend, man. I mean, it's better to play Denver here than to play Denver in Denver and then shoot down to Los Angeles. But it's a good time for them to be tested though, because we know they're playing well, and we keep looking at it like 5 of 6, like they've strung together some good defensive games here. Mm-hmm. But what does it ultimately mean? We're about to find out.
Yes.
And you've got the Boston game again. I'm not going to diminish that. That's a quality win, but you do mention Kemba wasn't around, and we've seen them not take advantage of games where a starter is out or multiple important players are missing. And that was the case with Kemba Walker and Marcus Smart out against Boston. But, they deserve credit for that win. I think it was a good test for them. But now, if you've got a Nuggets team, I don't think Michael Porter Jr. played last night. I don't know what his status is going to be for this weekend.
Yeah, he played. I don't know how effective he was. Let me look at the box score, but I remember he played. And look, the only thing
he did play. You're right. My mistake. He played 20 minutes. You're right.
What did he do?
He was ineffective.
Yeah, what
he was
did he
8
do?
minutes. I was thinking. I don't remember. I don't think he played last night. I don't remember hearing his name called. He was 3 of 10.
Well, look, the only time I remember him playing last night was when they had a 4-on-2 and he pulled up for a 3 and got his shot blocked. Like that's the only reason I know Michael Porter Jr. played last night. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with him last night, but
Buddy would never.
There's not enough defenders around him. He wouldn't. 4-on-2. That's not enough defenders to take a pull up. He needs all 4 back there.
He needs all 5 back there to defend that shot. So I like the fact that they're being tested right now when they're playing well. They're like, okay, how real is this defense? Yeah. The Nuggets put up 93 points last night. Okay, what are they going to do against Sacramento? Sacramento going to be able to keep him in that range of 100 to 106, 7, somewhere around there. I think they've been averaging 107 points, so they're going to be able to keep it around there. And then what are they going to do with a team that is just, as you said, curb stomped them, full Seth Rollins shield style? The last 2 times that they've played,
and that's going to be dang man, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a tough one. Because the way the game times are set up, the Kings are literally going to be playing 2 games inside of 24 hours.
Yeah, is it 2 and 12 or 7 and 12?
2 and 12, 7 and 12 would be crazy.
Oh, that would be a bit much.
But yeah, 2 and 12 is what it is. So they've got to play at 2, fly to LA, and under 24 hours, play the Clippers, not the Timberwolves, play the Clippers on their home floor.
No disrespect to the Timberwolves, of course.
And look, on top of that, the Kings just never play the Timberwolves. I mean, let's play the Clippers 5 times. Let's play the Nuggets 5 times. We probably get the Warriors again. We don't never play the Timberwolves and the Pistons and teams like that. They're not on the schedule.
With all due respect to the Pistons and the Timberwolves, I'm gonna preface everything with that so they don't come in here and wind up beating the Kings by 10.
We don't have to do that because they don't ever play him, Damian.
Well, there is a whole second half of the season in which we don't have the schedule for yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be more Clippers games. My goodness, we'll never play the also-rans.
They're gonna play the Clippers. And by the way, my partner's not kidding. They don't play the Timberwolves at all before the first half of the season is over. That is not a team that they drew on their schedule. They do play the Detroit Pistons.
Okay, I was just about to ask you, who's the sorriest team they have on their schedule? I guess the Pistons would be on there.
The Pistons,
and that might be it.
Yep.
I feel like everybody else is decent.
I mean, you got to remember, we're a month away right now. March 4th is the end of what we have in terms of the schedule. So they have yet to play Memphis because of, what happened with those 2 postponements.
And just as we give them some props, I think they're starting to come back down to earth.
Well, they've got Memphis coming up here on Valentine's Day. I mean, this isn't easy. They've got Brooklyn twice in the first half of the season. They've got the Lakers again.
Milwaukee.
They got Milwaukee in Milwaukee. I mean, there's a stretch of oh my God, there's a homestand. It's Philly. Gosh, they play a bunch of home games in a row after that LA game. It's Philly, Orlando, Memphis, and then Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think they were talking about the other day, 7 of 8 was this little stretch at home.
Yeah, that is lengthy. And then, with the home games come the road games. They're at Milwaukee, at Brooklyn, at New York. You'll get your Detroit Pistons game.
Oh, joy.
Second night of a back-to-back, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Second night of a back-to-back, by the way.
You can play them, but you have to play 3 games in a row before that.
And then they'll come back and play Charlotte and Los Angeles at the Golden One Center, and then they'll end the first half of the season in Portland.
Two things in sports that are concrete. If you haven't learned anything about sports since listening to D-Lo and KC, there's 2 things that you guys should know. Number 1, the Niners are the only team in football that has a salary cap. That's a fact. And the Kings only play playoff teams.
It's legit. And if you relate everything back to wrestling, that's the third thing that you learned. Your life will be better. Relate everything back to a wrestling angle you saw as a kid. Those
brother.
Those are the three things that you learned from listening to D-Lo and KC.
Vitamins, prayers.
We'll talk more about the Sacramento Kings. We'll talk about the Super Bowl. I've talked myself out of the blowout.
I kind of have to.
I've talked to myself out of the blowout. I think you're wrong. We'll talk more about that. If you want to be a part of the show, 916-349-1320. If you're in on twitch.tv/ESPN1320 or you're watching us on YouTube, jump in the chat there. We're just getting started here on this Friday edition of D-Lo and KC on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Do I sound okay, Jesse? Do I sound low? I feel like I don't. Okay. All right.
All my people out there, man. Happy Friday, chat. Cheryl, what up? Baltimore, stand up. Happy Friday. Game 916. Happy Friday.
Cheryl C23. You know what it is.
Baltimore in the house. Stand up. Stand up.
Yeah.
But we heavy in Baltimore. I'm telling you that right now. I'm talking to my people, on the ground out there and be more. We're heavy in Baltimore, Damien. I'm telling you.
Let's go.
Heavy.
Let's go. I can roll with the Ravens. I'm down. Purple's my favorite color. Let's get it. Let's get it.
You know what? I was talking to my other homeboy about this earlier, Rich, and he saw me like from a distance. He was like, "Oh, you got your Chiefs hat on for today?" I was like, "No, fam. No Chiefs hat. Don't start with me,
man. Your gear gets a lot of love here on the
Well, everybody know. One of my. I don't want to exaggerate, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. You already know what it is, baby. Paid in full out here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Everybody eats, baby.
I feel
everybody eats.
I feel like you got that shirt made. Like that didn't even exist. Like you've got that made. Hey, look at this great comment from ESPN 1320. If you're watching there on YouTube,
love those guys.
This is my favorite radio station right here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up over there on YouTube. I think I finally figured out. I know Deuce, because I'm an idiot and didn't ask him. I know Deuce really pushes like, hey, hit the thumbs up, make you subscribe. Like I understand the value of subscriptions and setting the alert so when we go live. I think what happens, because Deuce was in the chat yesterday, when you hit the thumbs up, YouTube recommends us.
We started getting those. So algorithms. We started getting those.
Yeah. So it's just like a tweet. The more interaction your tweet gets, the more people sees it. That's what see it. Learn to speak English, dummy. I think that's what happens with these YouTube videos, because yesterday we had we built this channel last week. I think we're up to like 70 subscribers. We're getting close to 80, I think. And 28, 30 people hit the thumbs up on the video yesterday. And we had like 200 people watching the show, which is the most that we've had, in the 6 days that we've launched, that channel. So that's pretty dope.
Smash the like button, smash the thumbs up, everybody.
Yeah. So Deuce, thanks for the heads up, man. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you do that.
And look at here. No. There is no drinking on the job. This is peach Minute Maid juice in here.
Liar.
Only.
Liar. Cheryl C23. I don't think he's telling the truth. Don't nobody drink peach juice out of a mango out of a solo cup unless there's something else in there.
Now, if this was post game vibes, I can promise you something different.
No doubt, especially after a win. There you go. Go to YouTube just to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. Oh, and you're on Twitch. That's double the love. Hey.
Oh, look.
Hey.
Let me address. You bring up a great point, Damien. We always have plastic cups in the house, like always. This will not be done as much as possible. We drink out of red cups all the time.
So what's funny about that is back in the day, long time ago, when you could have people in the vicinity of you, I would have gatherings a time or two, and for some reason, I like drinking out of a plastic. Like if I've developed a terrible habit. Like I went like a decade without drinking any kind of soda whatsoever, but I found this healthier, not filled with artificial crap soda.
Fizz.
Something, I don't know what it is. And for some reason, I don't want to pour it into a glass. I want to pour it into a plastic cup.
Yeah.
And I've made the decision when I'm done with this 4-pack that I bought. I'm not buying anymore, but.
Yeah. I'm just a little lazy.
Look at this. Today's the anniversary of Andre winning the title and giving it to the $1 Million Man.
I mean, this is asking a lot, but can I get some audio Can I get some audio? I don't even know where the audio would start. Maybe it's our favorite. How much was the
February 5th, man. What was that? 1988.
Oh man. Oh, my boy Jesse. Oh,
Yeah.
let's go crazy. Hey.
Yes, let's
My
go.
boy Jesse, let's go. I have to get up for that one, baby. Come on, throw your hands in the air.
Kenny up here dancing. I don't know that he realizes. I don't know that you realize when you stand up on the stream where the camera goes.
I'm trying to, look, I've been cognizant of it. I try to step to the side a little bit.
February 5th, 1988, one of the biggest days in all of sports. Over 30 million people tuned into NBA to see Andre the Giant beat Hulk Hogan and hand the world title over to the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. You think the Super Bowl is big? Man, there has never been a bigger professional wrestling match than that one. I believe that is still the most watched match in wrestling history.
No lie, Damian, no lie. One of the first, I'm gonna say sports entertainment, whatever you want to say. One of the first sports moments I ever remember is that Saturday Night Main Event. It's like that, and I don't even know what I remember after that or before that. I guess the 49ers won a Super Bowl in '89. And I remember the '89 World Series.
Is that the Bengals or the Broncos?
80. So, I always get confused with this, with the seasons. I think they won in January of '89. So that was 88.
89 season. I got you.
Yeah, I could be wrong. But if that was the case, I remember that Super Bowl. That was like months. Well, it was almost a whole year after that Saturday Night Main Event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much money for the plastic surgery, brother? Biggest sporting event to ever happen in February, but we've got the Super Bowl. We'll talk more about the Kings as the day rolls along. Marshall Harris is going to be with us at 1:30, and as we mentioned, it is a huge weekend for your Sacramento Kings, so we're not done with them yet by a long shot. But Super Bowl 55 is here. Is it 55? Yeah,
55.
Super Bowl 55 is here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Kansas City Chiefs. I've talked myself out of the blowout. And you know what it was? It was our conversation yesterday that it was like, there's no way. Brady's way too good. There's no way that the Bucs are getting blown out. Absolutely none.
Okay. Look, I guess I've come around on it a little bit because I was talking about it on the Vibes last night with Jason. And I got my official score at 31-17. So that's not a blowout.
Dude, that's a blowout. What are you talking about?
It's two scores. What are you talking about? That's 31-17. That's 14 points.
For a Super Bowl, that's
Is
a blowout.
Is it 14? Yeah, it's 14.
That's a blowout.
No. It also depends how it happens. Like if they're up 31-3 and then they get, 2 touchdowns late, then that's still a blowout. But it could be a situation where, they're up 24-17, in the fourth quarter, and then Pat Mahomes gets one to put it away late. So
the over
could go either way.
I think the over under in terms of touchdowns in that game is 8.
It's a lot.
They're expecting some. Yeah, they're expecting some points to be scored.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll get the official numbers from BetQL. Do you get in? I know you like to partake every once in a while. Do you get in on
into it? Oh, I got to get back into it.
Do you get in on the prop bets like with the national anthem? Like how long does the national anthem go? Like do you go the over under and? Was it Aretha Franklin? Did Aretha Franklin birth that bet where she went like 2 minutes over the
Was it Aretha or did they do it for Whitney? Was Whitney the one that? Oh,
I don't remember that long ago. I just remember Aretha did like a 27-minute rendition of the national. Like they had to take 3 commercial breaks while Aretha was singing.
That's how we do.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how we do.
Well, Marvin Gaye made the national anthem a goddamn love song, for goodness sakes. Like, he did that at the All-Star game, and all of a sudden the national anthem hits the playlist when you're trying to close the deal.
After
like, oh, say.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Can you, like, Marvin, stop, man.
I know we don't speak of this man much anymore, but do you remember when R. Kelly did a Step in the Name of Love version of the national anthem?
Oh, God, unfortunately. Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, I remember that. That's one of the many reasons that we no longer speak of him because of his step version to the national anthem.
Oh man! So we got Jasmine Sullivan this year, though. Jasmine
Okay.
Sullivan with a good new album out. I don't even know if I can say the name of the album. I should be able to, but I'm not gonna chance it. But
Okay.
yeah, new album's good.
I heard Cardi B dropped a new record this morning.
Up.
Up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
shout out.
nice little-
Cardi's my girl. I love Cardi.
Wait. You think we get like a Cardi B or a Nicki Minaj or Megan Thee Stallion doing the national anthem one day?
I hope.
and just for the sake of the audience, I hope it's the Super Bowl. I hope it's the NFL.
They would lose their minds.
Jay-Z's last proclamation with his relationship with the NFL. Like, all right, we got nothing out of this deal, so you're going to have to give me Cardi B. I need Cardi B singing the national anthem.
Give me Cardi singing the national
in
anthem.
a cap jersey.
Oh my gosh. They don't even have like call-in lines to be angry, but they would find the people would find one and smashing. We talk about smashing the like button. They would smash the phone number to complain about that one.
They're going to find the manager, is what you're saying. Like they're absolutely going to find the manager,
absolutely,
and make this be heard. 31-17 feels like a blowout, especially in a Super Bowl. Especially given what we saw last year. Kansas City right now, I've seen 3. BetQL has them at 3. I've seen 3.5 as well for Kansas City.
Really?
Over under. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I understand. I think that it was going to be a 2-score game, but I can understand, people saying like this is going to be a close Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
There are some circumstances within the Super Bowl that, kind of give me pause. And I think it did the same for you when you talk about the injury that Kansas City has on the offensive line, specifically to Fisher, and then is Kilgore still in protocol?
I think he'll be in protocol until today's Friday. I think tomorrow. I think tomorrow. He assuming, of course, that he's passed all of the COVID tests. I think he officially comes out of protocol tomorrow.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, there's things there. I just don't see. Tampa Bay has a good defense. It's not an embarrassing defense by any means, but I don't think it's good enough to stop what the Chiefs have. Honestly, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Niner fan. I think that Niners defense was the only defense that could play with them, because you got to be able to rush with 4 and you got to be able to cover. And I'm not saying they're the only one. If somebody could build one like that, that's the formula, being able to play with the Chiefs. But if you can't do that, and Tampa Bay didn't do that, no, they'll find a way to pick you apart.
Well, the one thing that I don't like about the Tampa Bay defense, or I should say one of the things that I don't like about the way the Tampa Bay defense is being covered is, Todd Boyles is good. The defense is good. They have the number 1 rushing defense in the league, but they have the number 21st defense in when it comes to passing.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have the number 1 rushing defense in the league, but what's that going to do against, the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that runs the clock out by throwing 2-yard passes.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? It's a different strategy when you're playing Kansas City. And I know Bruce Arians is a fantastic coach. Todd Boyles is a fantastic coach. He's a fantastic defensive coordinator as well. But I don't buy into the Bucs defense. I don't have a hot take for this. I think it ultimately comes down to what the story is. It's Mahomes versus Brady. Who's going to be? Is it going to be Tyreek Hill? Is it going to be Evans? Is it going to be Gronk? Who's going to be the guy who kind of takes it to a next level? And if somehow, and I don't expect this to happen, but if somehow Kansas City did establish a running game, I don't know how you compete with that if you're the Bucs. I'm just counting on them not, and that's why I believe it's going to be competitive. But if they do, it ain't happening.
And when you talk about Brady and what he's able to do, I know Rich is going to smash the like button for this, but I'm kind of done looking at the Chiefs as not having a defense, right? Sure. I think they're not great, but they're good. They're clutch. They're timely. They have playmakers. I love the Honey Badger. I always have. And he's the sheriff. He's the watchdog of that defense. And Breland being back as well. I mean, and then the guys up front, Frank Clark, Jones. I mean, those guys cause havoc. So that defense is – I don't know if Tom Brady's going to be able to just do what he wants against that defense. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think he's – I don't think it's going to be like a – the 450-yard outing from Tom Brady, but I believe he's good enough to navigate a difficult defense.
Yeah,
it's just what does it? And you're right, and I think Kansas City's good. I'm with you in the sense that I believe that Kansas City has a defense that is good. It's overlooked because their offense is great.
right.
And you don't talk about their defense because their defense only measures up to good, while their offense measures up as phenomenal. And Patrick Mahomes measures up as phenomenal and all of that. So I'm of the belief, like I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be compelling. I think there's great storylines in it with, Tony Romo. This is the most important. And Tony Romo, this is a CBS game. So this is Romo and Nance. And Romo's the one who said this is the most important game Patrick Mahomes is ever going to play in. We joke about wrestling. And for those who aren't familiar with the Hogan Rock match, I think this is the perfect dichotomy with those two. Like it's the young lion versus, the old king of the jungle. And that's what it feels like. Like Brady is that guy. And if you want to be considered the greatest, you have to beat him. Right. And that's compelling to me because I'm a sucker for a story. That's all I care about. I care about the story.
Yeah. It's a big story. Now, let me talk about something else that we talked about earlier as well. When you talk about this Super Bowl and you talk about we're on Friday of Super Bowl week, and this is really the first time we really dove into the game. And I know for me, something's kind of missing. Now, obviously, it's the pandemic and nobody being there for Radio Row the whole week, the parties. Not that we would be at the parties, but, just that whole environment, right? There's that. But I also think when you think of the matchup itself, Brady versus Mahomes, icon versus icon, young GOAT versus the old GOAT, I think it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? Enticing as maybe you would think, because Brady's with the Bucks. If this was Mahomes versus Brady and the Pats, then it's like, oh, let's go. But it's the Bucks. It's like, okay, it's the Bucks. Nobody really has any venom towards the Bucks. Nobody wants to see the Bucks lose. Nobody really cares about seeing the Bucks lose. You know what I mean? The Patriots, people were like, yes, bring them down. Go Mahomes. There would be some energy behind it.
Is it the Patriots or is it Brady?
I think it's both, but I think it's more so the Patriots and just that whole conglomerate. Brady's involved in it, but it's the whole conglomerate, right? And now Brady's, separated himself and he's gone to a Bucks, a really nondescript NFL franchise. Let's just call it like it is. They've got a Super Bowl. They have a little history, but a real nondescript. Nate, raise your hand out here in the chat and riding around listening to us if you know 5 people that like the Bucks. Like, no, it's not like he's gone to the Raiders or the Packers or the Bears or the Niners or something. I feel like even if he went to the Dolphins, that's got a little more lineage than Tampa Bay. It's just this real nondescript team. And I used the analogy earlier about it would be like if LeBron in 2008 went up against Michael Jordan against the Wizards. It wouldn't be the same. And I think that's what's going on with this Super Bowl as far as interest level.
That's interesting because I was workshopping like what the comp would be, and I obviously used the Hogan Rock line from WrestleMania. I think it was 1920, whatever WrestleMania that was. I don't remember.
17 maybe.
No, it definitely wasn't. Hogan Rock definitely wasn't 17. No, I think it was 18, but I can't remember. And I realized that a small portion of people.
I think
I realized a small portion of people are going to get that. So I was like, what would work? And I disagree in the sense I disagree, but I get your point about the Patriots. But I don't think it's Jordan with the Wizards because Jordan was good with the Wizards. And I think that's kind of lost because he didn't win, 3 titles with the Wizards or a title or anything like that. But he was very, very good with the Wizards. Brady is still great. Like Brady is putting up Brady Patriots numbers.
Right.
And so the one that I just kept coming to was 08 LeBron versus 96 Jordan. Yeah, I think LeBron James had arguably, or maybe not even 08, maybe 2012. So I think you could pick 2008, 2012, probably 2012 more. It was probably the greatest basketball season I've ever seen. from a single player. Like, and I know I'm cheating here, but I'm encompassing the fact that he won the gold medal in the Olympics. He was the MVP that year. They went on to win the championship and all of that. It was one of the, probably the single greatest season that I've ever seen. I saw Steph have a phenomenal regular season as well, but that, and then, the 96 Jordan, and that's the comp that I came up with.
Yeah, I see that. I
don't think like 96 Jordan, 97 Jordan, 90, he wasn't winning the MVPs. Like, they were giving them to Stockton and Malone. Yeah. I know Barkley got one in there. They were just Malone. They were
Malone
handing out
97, I think, and Jordan should have won though. A lot of people believe. So that's the thing. People believe Mike should have won in 97, but it was like Jordan fatigue, and they gave it to Carl. But he was, like you said, to your point with Brady, he was still great. So how this Super Bowl probably should be, and I know it's different times. This is probably going on maybe 8-9 years ago, but this should feel like Patriots Seahawks. It should feel like that. That felt like a big game, right? That felt like a big game. We had, and like I said, we weren't in a pandemic. You had Russell Wilson, as great as Patrick Mahomes is right now. I'm not saying that Russell was on that level, but people were looking at Russell as being, he's next. He's about to win his second Super Bowl. Like, he's going to be great. And he is great, right? But you also had the dynamic of, it was Brady versus the Legion of Boom. And that was a whole nother dynamic. So there was a lot of energy going into that Super Bowl. There was a lot of energy going into Eagles versus Patriots. But I think it was the combination for both of those situations as the Patriots dynasty going up against this up-and-comer, whether it was Russell Wilson or the Eagles or even Matt Ryan and the Falcons. I had a lot of energy as well. It was Brady and the Patriots dynasty. Brady is still, who he is, but it's not the same without the dynasty behind it.
So what if we framed it as, okay, point taken, but this is Brady versus Mahomes?
Yeah, and that has juice. That has juice.
I mean, you take and it's disrespectful to everybody else in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. It's disrespectful to Andy Reid and Bruce Arians, two coaches who are thought very, 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 very highly of, both in media circles by NFL fans and within their own coaching ranks. But we don't have to lie to ourselves about what the story is. So this Super Bowl will be remembered as, especially if Patrick Mahomes goes on to have the career that we all believe that he is going to have, especially if Patrick Mahomes goes on to have a career that even remotely resembles the first 3 years of his career, the first 3 years of him being on the field. This Super Bowl will always, because Tom Brady's already established, this Super Bowl is going to be remembered as Mahomes versus Brady.
It is. And I don't think this is the argument that you're making, that it would be remembered more, but it's not going to be the same. If we go back 10 years from now and be like, yeah, remember when Mahomes beat Brady? That was pretty cool. But if it was, remember when Mahomes took down Belichick and the Patriots and beat Tom Brady? Oh, that's when the torch was passed. That was, it was bigger, because I guarantee you, if it was the Patriots there, it would have been, well, obviously it couldn't have happened.
I know what you mean.
It couldn't have happened, but it would have been.
We saw this 2 years ago, a pre-snap penalty, and maybe the Chiefs are looking at their third straight.
Absolutely, and it would be, as much as people like to separate the two now because Tom Brady's done what he's done in Tampa Bay and the Patriots struggled, it's still Brady and Belichick. It's Brady and Belichick. And the whole week leading up to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game would have been like, can the genius Belichick stop Mahomes? And can Mahomes beat Belichick and Brady? It's always that two-headed monster. And that, it's just more intriguing.
It's a good point. I see them. I don't agree with it, but it's I get the analysis. Like, it's a solid point. Like, you go back and what I remember most about that game, everybody references, as I just did, the pre-snap penalty but
poor D Ford.
Bro, how many rules? Like, I feel like they changed a handful of NFL rules because of Brett Favre. Like Brett Favre would find a creative way to lose an NFC championship and they change a rule. How did they not immediately change the rule when that game goes to overtime? Brady leads the Patriots to a score. Patrick Mahomes, the MVP that year, never steps foot on the football field.
Yeah.
How do they not address that immediately? Like, well, we've got to fix this because we were robbed of something right there.
What would you want them to do? Do the college thing?
You could do the college thing, or because if you score a touchdown, because if the Chiefs had the ball once, I think everybody should have a possession. So essentially, the Patriots won the coin toss, got the ball, scored a touchdown, the game was over.
Right.
So it's the offense versus the defense. It's like you're not even going against the full team. Like at least if you score a touchdown, and I know they do this with field goals, but if you score a touchdown, give the other team a chance to answer.
Okay.
And if they don't, game's over. Simple as that. But the offense should be on the field at least once, shouldn't they?
See, in a perfect world, yes, but I kind of like how they do it now. Because in a perfect world, I thought they would go college.
Pat never stepped foot on the football field.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's fair necessarily.
Instead of tails.
Well, you got to do better. Tails never fails. Okay. But
I've heard that.
I mean, I understand like what you're saying. I get it. I just don't know if they have a better solution. Because then, I mean, these guys always talk about an extra quarter of football here.
Oh, like stop.
If you're letting these guys, well, what do you mean? Don't wave that off.
Stop.
Don't wave that off.
What are you talking about? Player safety here? Are we still talking about player safety in this league?
I am. The NFL's
a load
not.
Of garbage.
The NFL's not. I am. So essentially, you're going to almost guarantee these guys playing another quarter almost.
It didn't guarantee anything. I mean, it might. I mean, Patrick Mahomes can score quick. I mean, he can.
In that game, they were going to play another quarter because both defenses were done. Wow. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the college system is the best way to go about it, but these guys are too good to go from the 25, every time. Like they score a touchdown or a field goal every time. There will be no stops unless you made them go for it on fourth down.
Well, I was going to say, make it a touchdown then.
Yeah.
Make
them go for it.
You've got to get in the end zone.
Can't kick a field goal.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I just feel like Brett Favre throws an interception in the NFC Championship, and it's like, oh, now when we go to overtime, we've got to give if they kick a field goal, the other team gets a chance to rebuttal. Like, wait a minute,
Brett Favre. He's
found so many creative ways to lose NFC Championship games.
It's almost like him and Aaron Rodgers.
Something in the Packers water. Wisconsin stuff up there.
Bad cheese.
Are you excited? Like, and I know we've tried to dissect why this game doesn't have the same feel to it, and it boils down to why life doesn't have the same feel as it normally does. There's normally an overwhelming presence. There's Radio Row, and I know there's there are guys doing their brought to you by Old Spice. I'm so happy to be partnered with Old Spice. They make me smell good, ads on the radio.
What was the thing we said, Turf? What do we have? They'll mention it in the chat, but the little black sealant or whatever. I don't know.
Crap, I forgot the name of it already. But like this, where the guy patches up the raft and he's floating and he's sealing Flex Seal
here.
Is it Flex Seal? Yeah, I'm happy to be partnered with Flex Seal here. Thanks for having me, Dan Patrick. I love Flex Seal. I'm also brought to you by Old Spice. It's like, they go out and they do all of these interviews, but it's not, and you have like a handful of those, but when you turn on, whatever your favorite football show is, the presence is different. And you've got guys, they might still be there, but they're there like, they're doing their interviews virtually. You know what I mean? And it just has a different feel, and the presence doesn't feel as overwhelming. And I don't know, it's going to be weird for us too. And when I say us, I think I can speak for like all of us in that even leading into the game, we're going to be watching Kings.
Yeah.
We're going to be watching the Kings from like 12 to 2:30. Then we're going to be on Twitter, interacting. And then before you know it, by the time we're done, then it's kickoff. And then it's like, there's a football game here. And maybe at that point, it'll feel like the Super Bowl. But for us, I don't even think, given that I don't think I'm going to be locked into pregame coverage tomorrow.
No.
I don't think I'm going to, have any feels of a Super Bowl until Sunday right before kickoff.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm going to be right before kickoff. That's when I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. And like you said,
especially if the Kings win. It's going to be lit if the
they beat
Kings
the
win.
Clippers, and they beat the Clippers. Let's go. Y'all might find me out this on this Twitch if they beat the Clippers.
With a red Solo cup.
Hey.
His Super Bowl centers on two quarterbacks. We all know the importance of that position, but is yet another quarterback potentially on the market, perhaps one that Kenny and I both dismissed. And I'm going to present the San Francisco 49ers scenario to him.
Okay.
He's going to shoot it down. We'll be back with more here on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, here on YouTube, and of course on your radio.com app and on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Let's go. Let's go.
Baby. Come on.
Let me get that out of here.
Come on.
Danny in San Francisco is going to lose his mind.
Danny in San Francisco, go check your mail real quick. Step away from.
I know he checked into the chat earlier. That was at the beginning of the show. We'll see if he's left yet.
Let me see. Hold on.
Here we go. How much money for the plastic surgery, brother? Wait, Leezy? What is this nonsense right here, Leezy? This is trash. Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. We are not in the discussion of moving Harrison Barnes, man. That's insane. Y'all got to stop that. Why do you keep looking for good players? This is funny about bad basketball teams, man. Y'all we look and we look and we look and we look to find good players. Then we get them and we go trade them. Let's get rid of them.
Come on.
Leezy, that's a bad take, bro.
Come on, bro. We ain't doing that, man.
That's a bad take, Leezy.
Come on, man. Harrison Barnes ain't going nowhere.
Nah.
If I got anything to say with it.
That's a bad take, Leezy.
Freezing cold take.
Yes, indeed.
What else we talking about up in here?
Yeah, the chat was lit. I looked over. There was like 67 messages. I was like, man, what are y'all talking about in there?
They having their own party.
That's why I can't
listen to the show.
That's why I can't leave the chat open, because I'll start wanting to chime in about what they're doing.
They tapped in to tell us that it was Flex Sale and then went back to their conversation.
Leezy said, my bad. I bet they were talking about, oh, look at Roddy. Look at Roddy. I see you. We're gonna spoil the tease for everybody on the screen. Okay, Roddy. I see you, baby. I see you locked in. If y'all just jumping in, man, hit the thumbs up, please. Do that. Especially those on YouTube. It looks like a lot of people are on Twitch. Do whatever you got to do to share. Man, Cheryl got a Twitch.
This is Cheryl in Baltimore.
Oh, that's Cheryl in Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's Cheryl C23.
And then we had another Baltimore up in here. Man, there's a Cheryl, and then there's my girl Sugar Free Shirley who checked in too.
Bruh, I like this, Ramsey. What do you think about this?
It's a good one. That's a good one. I read that. It's a good one.
I like that.
Yeah. The only difference is Jordan hadn't won yet.
True. Yep. That's good.
But that's a minor detail. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Did you see the one where our man's I don't want to mess up his name, Max Araya, said it's supposed to be raining in Tampa on Sunday?
Is that right?
That's what he says.
I didn't see that.
That's what he says. We
We
might have to check with our girl Christina Warner.
Does
Fox
she know
40.
the weather in Tampa?
I should know the weather in Tampa.
Yeah, hold on. Where are we at? No, he didn't.
Cheryl and L. Grover's texting in. She said, "Stop talking about Marvin." I don't know what Marvin you're talking about, D-Lo.
Marvin? I ain't say nothing about Marvin.
Oh, Marvin Gaye.
Oh, say, can you see?
By the dancer.
Like, man,
he lied.
You're not supposed to get naked to the national anthem, Marvin. Like, what's going on here? Like, I'm about to put I'm about, I'm about, I'm about to put Marvin Gaye on Sounds of Passion, volume 27 here. Got the national anthem,
baby.
patriotic
Yeah.
version.
Serve your country.
Stand for the flag.
I'm out.
Oh man, sophomore class field trip here. God bless it.
Yes, Rich, I said they have a good, somebody used the word in here that was perfect, opportunistic defense. Yes, they do. The Chiefs defense.
That's good enough. My name is D-Dice.
Hold on.
Hey. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The most famous match in wrestling history on this day, February 5th, 1988. Andre the Giant pins our beloved.
How much, brother? How much?
Beloved Hulk Hogan. Man, Jesse came back with that D-Nice joint.
Sweet.
Was there a bigger star made through the pandemic than D-Nice? Like, hip-hop heads knew D-Nice, but when he threw that first... When he threw that first quarantine party, and like
it took off.
Like Michelle Obama, like all of the presidential candidates were in there. Like
that boy took off.
That was wild. Like Bernie Sanders was in there. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, no, D-Nice took off, man. Big ups to him.
He went from I think he went from a couple 100,000 followers to like several million.
Got that once he got that Michelle rub, it was on.
Oh man, that was early quarantine too, man. And he mixed for like 8, 9, 10 hours straight. Dude, that was wild.
Crazy.
Man, that was a culture moment.
So here's one thing about that song that
Club Quarantine.
Back with.
That's what it was. Club Quarantine.
Too.
Yeah.
That song. See, I knew D-Nice or whatever, but I'm really familiar with that song. Mary J. Blige used that on the You Are Everything remix. And that's where that beat comes to me with.
Okay.
My darling, only you can make my dreams come true.
Yeah, but that's okay. I remember D-Nice from In Living Color.
That's okay.
That's okay. Like, it's fine that you know that. Like, that's fine. You act like sometimes, I swear, sometimes I talk to you and I think like you're 20.
Because I was listening to Young Thug the other day.
Yes, that's exactly why. That's exactly why you want to be part of the show. 916-349-1320. If you're watching us on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, you can take part in the chat. You can watch us on ESPN 1320 on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And hit the thumbs up button. Hope you're enjoying what we're doing so far. Obviously, we're talking a lot about the Super Bowl. We're talking a big Kings weekend coming up with the Denver Nuggets on Saturday, the Los Angeles Clippers in LA on Sunday. We'll dive more into that here as the 1 o'clock hour approaches. Marshall Harris of CBS 13, he's set to join us as he does each and every single Friday at 1:30. I want to pay this off because we were talking about quarterbacks. Obviously, this Super Bowl is about the quarterback position. It's and I know that's not shocking. That's pretty normal that a football game is based around the quarterbacks, but this is, to the 100th power with guys like Tom Brady involved and Patrick Mahomes. You could argue it's the past versus the present and the future, though it's hard to call Tom Brady the past at this point. Everything is built around the quarterback position, as frustrated 49er fans know, and as we've tried to, work out deals for Matt Stafford, as we've tried to work out deals for Deshaun Watson, as we've tried to work out deals to resurrect Steve Young or Joe Montana or somebody to come back and
try to get Aaron Rodgers.
That happened too. Work out these, deals for these upper echelon quarterbacks to join what we believe is a really, really talented roster. There's another quarterback out there that I didn't think was on the market anymore. It appears Carson Wentz is still a big subject of trade talk in Philadelphia. Now I think that surprised both of us in that it felt like, hey, it's either Peterson or Wentz. We had
Right.
heard the reports that Doug Peterson wanted to go with Jalen Hurts. He wanted him to be the quarterback, and he wasn't buying into Carson Wentz anymore, and he wanted to move on from him. And the fact that they got rid of Doug Peterson kind of led us to believe, okay, it was Wentz versus Peterson, and Wentz won. That appears to not be the case. I think the report that I read yesterday was, the Eagles aren't making phone calls regarding Carson Wentz, but they're certainly taking a lot of them, and they're not hanging up on anybody.
That's how I feel about it's less than how I feel about Harrison Barnes, where I say he's not untradeable, but I'm not trying to trade him. So it's the exact opposite. But yeah, that's interesting because I agree with you. We both
I'm
thought
ask you.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I'm going to ask.
Okay, all right. Wait a minute. Go ahead. Go there.
Is Carson Wentz an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's going to be a no for me, dog.
Yeah.
No. And Carson Wentz he's a good quarterback, and I know he had some good times with the Eagles.
He's an expensive quarterback, too.
He's very expensive, and he looked horrible last year.
Yeah, he did.
Horrible. No, that's a no for me, dog. I'll take my chances in the draft next year or this year with somebody else aside from Carson Wentz.
Is trading him? Jared Goff was better last year, wasn't he? Was Jared Goff better than Wentz? Yeah,
probably so, because he had better moments. Maybe.
Let's be fair. Marshall, if you're listening, I'm gonna add context to the Philadelphia Eagles season. They were terrible, but we spent a lot of time every Monday, Friday, and several other days in between talking about how injured the San Francisco 49ers were.
Yeah.
The good folks at your favorite radio station in Philadelphia, and I'm sure you know the call letters by heart, they had to do the same thing. That Philadelphia Eagles team.
Yeah.
That Philadelphia Eagles team was decimated by injuries. Now, they didn't lose Carson Wentz, though at times you felt like it'd be better if they did. They lost virtually everything surrounding him. Their offensive line was dead. They had no receivers to throw to, no running. Like, they had nothing. So I'll stall Carson Wentz out in that sense. But if you look at purely from a contract situation, if 49ers are otherwise, and I don't believe that, I'm with you. I don't believe Carson Wentz is an upgrade. He stays on the field though, but I don't believe Carson Wentz is an upgrade. If Goff can be moved, Carson Wentz could be moved too, couldn't he?
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm just trying to think of to where.
If I was the Eagles, I would definitely be fielding calls about Carson Wentz. Absolutely. But here's the other thing about Carson Wentz, and yes, the Eagles were decimated with injuries or whatever, but what kills Carson Wentz's argument with that is when they went to Jalen Hurts, they looked better with the same type of injury issues and all this other stuff. They were beating good teams. They were competitive. They were doing some good things out there. So that's what kind of kills it for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, I always thought he was a little overrated, like in his prime, like when people were really talking about him being really good. I wasn't on the hype train, but I also don't think like he's a scrub, right? I think he can play. I think he's a cool quarterback. Maybe a change of scenery will help him a lot. But yeah, if I was the Eagles, I'd be taking some calls. See what you got.
He was really bad last year.
What's some numbers?
Started 12 games. He threw 16 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
That's not going to get it done.
He threw for over 300 yards exactly once. Wow. This was a dude. I mean, he has never, and you hate this. I mean, I do, as just someone who appreciates, professional athletes and their work ethic and the grind that they have to go through. He was never the same after that injury. I mean, he was the MVP. It wasn't. It was as easy as Patrick Mahomes. It was as easy as Lamar Jackson. He was the MVP, and then he missed the final, 4 games of the season or whatever it was, 5 games of the season, and they, decided, okay, we can't give it to someone who's missed a quarter of the season. It'll go to Tom Brady. Not suggesting Brady wasn't deserving, but we know how that Super Bowl wound up going with the Eagles winning, and then you've got the decisions with Nick Foles and Carson Wentz, and then he comes back, and he was never the same.
Didn't he get hurt again?
He did.
Was it his back? I think it was his back. So
he did, where Nick Foles came in and I think did some more work for him in that season.
Yeah. Matter of fact, now that you mention it, Nick Foles almost won a wild card game. No, he won a wild card game in Chicago, and then he almost beat the Saints in the divisional round. I remember that. Yeah, and they lost that one late. Like I think it was a fumble on the last possession of the game or something like that. So, yeah, Carson, and I'll be fair to him when I say, fell from top 10 to not mention at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you rip your knee up and you have back issues, that takes a lot out of you. There's a lot to come back from, especially when somebody like him, his game seemed to be predicated a lot on his physical abilities and his athleticism, and that'll take you away from your athleticism, your ability to improvise, all that other stuff. Ripping your knee up and banging your back up. That's a bad combo.
He wasn't nearly as bad that year upon his return as some would remember. The record was bad, and I think that's what was concerning because if I remember correctly, Nick Foles came in and the team got hot, and he got them into the playoffs. He wound up winning that playoff game, and then the story became, is this dude going to do it again?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember thinking this will be the greatest sports story in history. Like, I mean, just from a storytelling standpoint, it'll be the greatest thing we've ever seen if Nick Foles comes in as a backup for the second straight year and leads the Philadelphia Eagles to another Super Bowl championship. But he put up pretty decent numbers, he being Carson Wentz, put up pretty decent numbers in that time that he plays. What does this say about Frank Reich? Because how good has Nick Foles been since that year, and how good has Carson Wentz been since that year?
Both of them have not been good.
Frank Reich might be the greatest coach we've ever seen in history, given what we've seen from Nick Foles and Carson Wentz in the years after that Super Bowl run with Doug Peterson and Frank Reich.
Nah, he's
and poor Frank Reich can't get a guy blessing quarterback there in Indianapolis to stay with him more than a year.
I mean, he's trying to get Jimmy, but I'm telling you, man, from the Niners, I'll run it back one more time with Jimmy and see if we can work this thing out. Because like I continue to say, the issue for me is when Jimmy plays. Jimmy plays, they are a contender. They are a Super Bowl contender. The problem is we don't know if he's going to be out on the field from week to week. That's the big problem.
So you said, Frank Wright, the Indianapolis Colts, they're trying to get Jimmy. Okay.
Rumor has it. They're inquiring.
How do rumors get started? Started by the jealous people. Let's run with it.
We sing on Friday.
Let's run with it. We sing Monday through Friday if you're just tuning in, by the way. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM, West Sacramento, KRXQ, HD2 Sacramento, a radio.com sports station. And driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, he's Kenny Caraway. I'm Damian Barling. We are thrilled that you are here with us on twitch.tv/ESPN1320. We welcome those that are watching on YouTube at ESPN1320. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button over there on Twitch. And, of course, everybody listening on the radio.com app and on ESPN 1320 AM. We appreciate you so much for being with us. We'll talk the Sacramento Kings as this hour rolls along, as they've got a big weekend coming up. And we'll talk with Marshall Harris coming up at the bottom of this hour. Hypothetically, let's say that there's something to that rumor. What if Indianapolis goes, hey, fam, let's make this right. You send Jimmy Garoppolo our way. We'll give you back DeForest Buckner.
I mean, DeForest Buckner is a great football player. Great football player. Makes a lot of money. And maybe I'm the wrong person to have this conversation with because you know how I feel.
The 49ers have a salary cap. I forgot, my bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the league. I know it's hard to forget because nobody else does but them. But there's really stressed up. They're really pushed up against it because of that Brian Allen signing earlier this year. So it's tough. But I'm the wrong person to ask here because you know me, Damian.
You love Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, not even that. But if given the opportunity between a quarterback and a defensive lineman, I'm always going to go with the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And that doesn't mean that Jimmy is better than DeForest Buckner because he's not. But I feel like Jimmy's position is more important. And I'm not going to I'd rather leave a gaping hole at defensive tackle or whatever he was than a gaping hole at quarterback.
No, I got you. And there's no way like Indianapolis can't do that. Like their team drastically changes. The reason they're desperately trying to find an upper echelon quarterback is because the rest of their team is really good. and they're trying to fill it out before the rest of their team is no longer good. I'd argue it's a rather similar situation that the San Francisco 49ers are in.
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
You believe, I don't know whether you believe Jimmy Garoppolo is an upper echelon quarterback or just a good quarterback, but the fact that he can't stay on the field and you're taking such a drastic step backwards, that's the frustration with that whole situation. Like, that's the frustration with where the San Francisco 49ers are. And it's the frustration where the Indianapolis Colts are, because they have really, really good teams around a quarterback position that they're not sure. In Indianapolis's case, they haven't filled long-term. And they knew that when they signed Phillip Rivers. And in the San Francisco 49ers case, they're not confident. At least it feels like they're not confident that they have that position filled long-term.
Yeah, and that's where we part ways. And I'm not even saying they have it filled long-term, but you have a guy that's good enough. Once again, the issue with him is his health. And that's a big issue. I'm not glossing over that. It's the health. But a lot of people try to talk about he's not good enough as a quarterback. I completely disagree. I think the numbers bear it out, Damian. When he's in there, he's an effective quarterback. His teams win. Like I said, people want to talk about, it's because he has a defense or the running game and all this other stuff. I'm sorry. Yes, you need a good defense and you need to be able to run the ball to win games. That's you can get Joe Montana in there. He'll tell you the same thing. So that shouldn't be necessarily a knock against Jimmy Garoppolo that his teams were good elsewhere. I just believe when he's in there, they have every opportunity in the world to win any game that they play. Let me put it into perspective a little bit here, people. As a Niner fan, he went into the belly of the beast, went into Seattle, a place they hadn't won in, I think, a decade. With the season on the line. Sunday Night Football, last game of the season. And he went and took care of business. So some respect. Put some respect on this man's name.
Man, I'm looking back. This, and you know what's crazy? Like, think about that. Jimmy Garoppolo was just in the Super Bowl. And you've got, obviously you've got Tom Brady here on a different team.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got Jared Goff, who was in the Super Bowl not that long ago. He's on a new team.
Is it 2 years ago?
Go back the year before that. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Go back the year before that. That was the Philadelphia Eagles. Both Nick Foles is on a different team.
That's crazy.
Carson Wentz may wind up on a different team. Go back the year before that.
Not before that.
Matt Ryan is still a member of the Atlanta Falcons for now, but we can absolutely revisit it.
Yeah.
And I can go back one more year, and I think
Cam?
It's Cam, and well, I guess technically it's Cam and it's Peyton. Different
That's
circumstances,
crazy.
But yeah. And then you go back the year before, and then that's where you have Brady and Russ there at in 2015.
That's crazy.
But how wild
I don't like that.
I mean, Brady is obviously an extraordinary circumstance.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, he's 20 years or whatever, something like that into his career. And, he parts ways with a team who we learned this year. And whether you're on it was Brady by himself, it was Belichick by himself, or it was a combination of Brady and Belichick, that Patriots team is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Context, Damian. Context. I got like there's like a little Marshall Harris that sits on my shoulder and yells at me.
He's implanted himself in your head like that diamond.
Rent free. He's sitting right here.
He's like that diamond in Lil Uzi Vert's forehead.
He's telling me to provide context. 11 defensive players opted out of the Patriots season this year due to the pandemic, and their offense was a bit of a problem also. So, I mean, it's just wild to look back and see how many quarterbacks have changed, teams, including Brady. Again, circumstances are different. And you realize you've got a guy in Patrick Mahomes who is in his third season as a starter, his fourth year in the uniform, and he could be in this position for a very, very long time.
Yeah, man, it's his world. We're just living in it. It's Patrick Mahomes here on out. How long before you think the general public turns on Mahomes? I don't want to say Mahomes.
Dude, no, that's
do like they do with the Patriots and Brady.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking about that. Earlier today because obviously there's the certain stigma that surrounds Brady, and I don't know if Brady is more likable now because he's not with the Patriots. I don't know if because I never disliked Brady. I like Mahomes a lot more. I don't know that I'm rooting for the Chiefs to win. Like I was rooting for the Chiefs last year because I thought it was a better story. I thought Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid was a better story. As my partner actually gets up and leaves me this time. But hey, this is a safe space. I'm trying to be honest with you. I respect Andy Reid too much for him to have that but category attached to him.
Mm.
But I was thinking, like, man, if Mahomes does win and Andy Reid wins another one, at what point do they turn into the Patriots? At what point do they turn into the Golden State Warriors? The Golden State Warriors heels turn happened in record fashion. Yeah. They were like, oh, incredible team play, team ball. Look at how this is the way basketball is supposed to be played. Oh, what a hell of an NBA Finals. They get their championship against the Cleveland Cavaliers the next year. Like, I don't think they lost a game until like game, what was it, like 16, 17, 18, 19, something like that.
I think they went 24 now to start.
They were full-fledged heels by the time they lost their first game, and people were sick of them.
Yeah.
It took 24 games after their championship for people to be sick of them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I would think if the Chiefs win this year, by next year, people will be ready to take them down.
Is Mahomes too likable? I mean, Brady's, you know what? Brady, likable is the wrong word. Sorry, because Brady you can't relate to, because Brady is like, and I think part of it is Tom Brady's the stereotypical bad guy in every high school movie. Like he's the captain of the football team. Yeah. He's the quarterback. He's dating the hottest girl in school. Like he lives that life. He is the biggest quarterback on the winningest team with a supermodel wife who makes multiple times the amount of money that he does. And nobody can relate to that.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, at least still very, very young in his career, is a little bit more relatable. And I wonder if at the point, if Patrick Mahomes gets to a point where we can no longer relate to him, is that where he turns into, is that where, you know, the Chiefs or this story where they become heels, they become the bad guys?
Maybe so. I think also, and your Warriors analogy is a spot on one. It's a lot better than keeping it in the NFL. But I think the other thing that made it happen so quickly with the Patriots and Brady was Spygate, and people were so pissed off with Spygate.
Sure, that's a great point.
That hung with them for the rest of the time they were winning.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great point. And then it didn't end there though.
What was the other thing so they did Deflategate? They did some other stuff too. They did some more videotaping, like more recently.
There were multiple Spygates. Yeah, there were multiple Spygates. There was Deflategate, and you're right. I feel like one is I mean, they did have a tight end.
Oh, jeez.
So, you know, in an attempt to not, drive down that lane too much, they did have a tight end that got a considerable amount of attention because of a heinous crime that he allegedly committed. I don't know how to phrase that, but
yeah,
he was a Patriot, and they paid him. There's a strong possibility that the Patriots gave him, what was it, like an $80 million, $80 million contract, something along those lines, after he killed somebody.
Oh. And
once that became like a realization, it was like, dude, the Patriots aren't what we thought they were.
Right.
And then even last year, you go back, and this isn't necessarily their fault, but they bring in Antonio Brown during a time where Antonio Brown is possibly the most toxic player in the league. So you have those things, and there's the famous, there's the great video edit that someone made of Bill Belichick, Stone Cold Steve Austin walking out of the tunnel, with the music playing behind him. And it's like, anytime a problem child in the NFL becomes a free agent, you see that video clip get posted with, well, here comes Bill Belichick to attempt to fix the situation, and he's going to wind up signing this guy for nothing.
Yeah, and then that's a great point about Belichick. Belichick with the media for that entire time, that wasn't endearing or anything like that. So they came off as cheats. They came off as, there was a little
like they were above the game.
Yeah. And when Brady would lose, there was like petulance, like, And he wasn't a gracious loser. You know, he always won all the time. But if it didn't go his way, you know, he wouldn't go shake hands or something like that. Little stuff like that.
Well, there's
so
also the Giselle, my husband can't throw the ball and catch it.
Right.
And then the Giselle said something else. Oh, the concussion thing.
The concussion
She said
thing.
it like on 2020. Oh, Tom had multiple concussions last year. And everyone was like, wait a minute, excuse me? They went through like every injury report. Like Tom is not on a single injury report.
That fell into them cheating again.
And
like
they
cheated again.
And guess what came about of it? And this is the part that I think drives people crazy. Nothing.
No.
And maybe there's nothing to it, by the way. Like maybe there legitimately is nothing to it. But if the Queen Bee said Kenny got a concussion, I'm gonna believe the Queen Bee.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if your fiance says, yeah, okay, Kenny had a concussion, and then all of a sudden he wasn't on an injury report, I'm probably gonna be more prone to believe your wife than the team.
We're going to dive into that. Ironically for them, the thing that I thought was the dumbest out of everything they did, they actually got in trouble for. I thought Deflategate was so
ridiculous. It was,
that's the one thing they actually got in trouble for.
And that was like a hey, we'll show them type thing. You know, there are even rumors that that there were owners, Jerry Jones, who was still pissed about the Spygate. And was like, well, you've got to punish them, more for this. And that came to bite Jerry in the ass later with the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. We'll step out. We'll come back. We're going commercial free till the top of the hour, of course, on twitch.tv/ESPN1320. We never take any commercials. The party continues. Go join us over there or join us on YouTube. Marshall Harris is going to join us here in about 15 minutes as D'Lo and KC continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
KC with the concussion for running into the walls after Buddy's left-handed pass. Yes, absolutely.
Man, y'all got it going on in here. Holy smokes. That's a good point. It's a good point, Max. It's a good point. How can Brady get a concussion when no one is allowed to hit him?
So, okay, let me have this discussion with you, Damian, and the people out here. Brady's the greatest, right? He's the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe I'm being a 49er fan or whatever. Him and Montana play different games, man. I think there's something to the fact that this is being facetious a little bit, but Brady does not fear for his life out there. He's protected. And every other quarterback is protected in a way that they were not.
Sure.
When LT and those guys can come out there and basically rip your head off if they wanted to. I think that comfort level obviously helps them, right? So I'm not going to take away his GOAT status, but I also want to acknowledge that he plays in a different time.
You know what's wild? One of my lasting memories of, and it's a dumb one, of Joe Montana was it Brent Jones? Did he used to play for the Giants? He leveled. I mean, just leveled Joe Montana.
Out of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. I mean, he hit him blindside, and I mean, it looked like a car wreck.
It was a vicious hit.
That's one of my lasting memories of Joe Montana. More than, and I remember Taylor. I remember all of that. Yeah. But for some reason, every time I think of Joe Montana, I think about that play.
Nah, I feel like I was a little young, but I think that essentially knocked him out for that was essentially it. Like that was it for Joe in San Francisco, because he was out for the next season. And I feel like he was out for, I think 92 was when Steve Young became an MVP. When did Joe leave? Joe didn't play again, I don't think, for the 49ers.
I think that's wrong. Because I feel like I gotta check if it was Brent Jones or not.
Jim Burt is the name in that Rich is saying. That's the guy that
hit him.
Joe, Joe Montana.
Okay.
So Joe was out the following year, and Steve came in. I think Steve won in 92. Wow, I don't feel like Joe was on the bench for that long. I feel
like it was earlier than that.
So 90.
The guy I'm thinking of, it's definitely not. Brent Jones was a tight end, for God's sake.
Oh, he was his teammate too.
Well, no, but he played. I thought he played for the Giants before the 49ers. He didn't. He played for the Steelers. So that's not even who I'm talking about. You said it was Jim Burt. It was Jim Burt. That's exactly Jim Burt Was with the Giants, yeah, and he was done in '88. So your timeline is off.
So
I'm
whoever
trying to
hit.
see if it
Oh,
has
wait a minute. There's a couple of times Joe got knocked out. You're talking about the one in New York, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about the one. It might have been Leonard Marshall, but yeah, no, the one. Oh yeah, he knocked the crap. Yes.
Oh man! Wow.
So Leonard Marshall was the one in '90. That
Okay.
was in San Francisco. The
Okay.
one you're thinking about, Damien, was in New York.
Yeah, it was
And I
earlier.
think
It was
he
like
knocked-
'80s. Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked the mess out of Joe Montana.
And he hit
I
him
remember that.
blindside. Like again,
Yeah.
if you see the like Joe's body just violently like
Yeah.
oh, like
Yeah,
oh.
that one was at the Meadowlands.
And then
I know
there's
exactly what you're talking
there's
about.
a shot of him just like face down, on the turf.
Leonard Marshall was the one in the '90 NFC Championship game at the Stick, and that's the one, like you said, Jesse, that knocked him
Rich.
out. He didn't play for. I'm full of useless knowledge. He didn't play for like 2 years. That was the end of Montana in San Francisco after that hit. But I say all this to say it was it's just the game was different, and I feel like that has to be acknowledged when you're talking about hell. Marino played in a different game. He said, "Shut the hell up." Oh, it's Friday, baby. It's Friday, baby. Hey.
Yeah. Flashback Friday here on ESPN 1320, man. We hope you're having as much
With
fun.
so much drama in the LBC. Oh, I'm not even going to go. I'm not even going to go no more.
Snoop D-O-double-G, but what y'all know about that, man? This is a great point that was brought up in the chat here on ESPN 1320 YouTube and on Twitch TV / ESPN 1320. By the way, if you're there on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. Same thing on Twitch, hit the share, do all of that stuff. Did the frustration with Brady, or maybe the frustration is the wrong word, did the hate or discontent for Brady and the Patriots start with the Tuck rule? Like
that's another moment, yeah.
We equated it to scandal and we equated it to winning, but did it all go south before it even started?
So I think in retrospect and hindsight, yes. In the moment, and excuse me if I'm speaking out of term, but everything that had gone on in the country, the Patriots were America's team. Because I remember there was a lot of people that connected that to them winning the Super Bowl that year. It's like, oh, America needed that.
Oh, was it 2001? Is that or 2002?
Yeah. No, it was that year. I think
after
technically 2002.
September. I got you. Yeah, I got you.
So retroactively, I think yes. Like people look back at that as they completely stole one and got away with one. At the time, destiny is what it was.
Ugh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can see why a contingent of fans would hate them for that. Like, I can absolutely see why they would hate them for and going back and watching that Tuck Rule video back, it was a 20 close to. Oh yeah, it's tough.
That's rough.
I can't imagine being a Raider fan having to see
rough.
that pop up on anniversaries and all that. It's like being a fan of Kendrick Perkins whenever that. It was a DeAndre Jordan or Blake Griffin anniversary dunk comes up. At least Kendrick has a sense of humor about it. Like he'll retweet it and comment on it and have fun with it. Whereas like Amy Trask will tell you to this day, like bring up this game to Amy Trask and her demeanor, her very kind, loving demeanor will change quickly.
Yeah. Or Damien, it's like being a Kings fan. In May, whenever that day is. Yeah. Whenever that day is in May. And it always, on this day in May, blah, 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 blah. Game 4, Western Conference Finals.
And it shows history like Bibby shot never gets shown.
Never gets shown.
Never gets
only
to
in
see
Sacramento. That's it. Only on King's Twitter.
Yeah. That's the only anniversary we choose to celebrate.
That's it.
As the Kings will be back in action tomorrow, a couple of days off for them. They'll take on the, by the way, follow at ESPN 1320 and all of our different social media accounts as we'll have coverage of their practice later on today. So make sure you go check that out. Marshall Harris will be with us here in about 9 minutes or so. It's the Kings and the Nuggets tomorrow. It is the Kings and the Clippers on Sunday. So as excited as we are for the Super Bowl, no doubt, the Kings are playing good ball right now. And this is a hell of a test. Of course, we haven't even mentioned the game on Tuesday when they're taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is a hell of a stretch coming up for the Sacramento Kings where we can find out exactly what's going on here with them and how good they may really be.
Absolutely. And this is also a situation that I've been thinking about, and we'll talk about a little bit more with Marshall, is De'Aaron Fox. You know, there's a campaign starting for him to make the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
This is you know how I look at things, Damien. This is an opportunity, you know, for him to, people don't really look at the Kings like that. They may tune in for the Clippers, tune in for the Sixers, just because those are the teams they want to watch. But there's De'Aaron Fox. You're going to have some eyes on you. Get some votes, steal some votes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking for him to kind of flex his muscles here in these next 3 games and make a name for him. I mean, everybody knows who he is, but you know, make a name for himself as an all-star guy.
Yeah. The All-Star game has been a great topic of discussion over the last couple of days. You may have heard De'Aaron Fox. As a matter of fact, he had an interaction with Marshall Harris regarding the All-Star game and what his thoughts on it were.
I mean, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, I think it's stupid. If we have to wear masks and do all of this for a regular game, then what's the point of bringing the All-Star game back? But obviously, money makes the world go round, so it is what it is. But I mean, I'm not really worried about it. If I'm voted, so be it. If I'm not, I don't.
Would you play in it?
You get fined if you're supposed to be in it and you're not hurt and you decide not to play. That's a hefty fine. So hell yeah, I would play in it.
So De'Aaron is right. Obviously, like De'Aaron is well aware of the policies of the NBA. I feel like the NBA may waive that this year because there weren't penalties for not going to the bubble. There weren't penalties for opting out this year. I wonder if they're going to make this an optional All-Star game, if you will.
Point.
I can't imagine that. I mean, again, you have to present the option to the players. I just don't think they want a situation where like 10 guys opt out and suddenly, as you and Jason Jones were talking about on the latest edition of the J Street Vibes podcast, which is available on the radio.com app or wherever you get your podcast from, it suddenly turns into the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Where there's like 50
Kelly
Pro Bowlers.
Oubre making his first All-Star appearance here in this All-Star game. Yeah, no, I don't think they want that. Yeah.
I did notice something because I think most people have been under the impression, well, I get what Adam Silver is doing. I get what the NBA is doing because, this is a money deal, right? You've got TV partners to satisfy with TNT and certainly ESPN as well. Here's a line from Adrian Wojnarowski's article on ESPN this morning. Because the league reduced the regular season by 10 games and doesn't have a separate all-star television deal, the league could have generated more revenue on the season by filling the weekend with more regular season games. Maybe this isn't about satisfying any sort of television deal with TNT and ESPN.
So what he's alluding to right there, if I'm hearing him correctly, is maybe the big wigs with the TV networks did not say, yo, you need to have an all-star game. That's kind of what he's getting at. This is an all-NBA decision here.
That's what it sounds. That's the same exact impression I got. So hey, I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm just going to present it for everybody to form their own conclusions because he doesn't elaborate on it. But that's it doesn't have a separate all-star game television deal. Okay, so this is strictly based on regular season games. And this is a one-night affair. Like normally all-star games, all-star festivities, if you will, they run from Thursday to Sunday.
Right.
And it's, you've got celebrity games. You've got rookie, I think, what is it? Rookie international games now. I don't remember the latest incarnation of it. But
USA versus the world.
There you go. Okay. So you got that. And then, of course, you've got All-Star Saturday night. And then you've got the All-Star game on Sunday. What the NBA is trying to do is just shoehorn this all to March 7th. They want to get the players, which is in Atlanta on Sunday. They want to get the players into Atlanta on Saturday, have all of the events on Sunday, and then get them right out.
Yeah. That's doing a lot. And I think the league is supposed to start back up on the 10th. So, it's like it's one of those things where this is supposed to be time off for them, but it's like when Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you got to get your time in on Christmas Eve. You get Christmas off and you got to go back to work
the day after.
Day after. It's kind of like that, right? So I could understand some of these players, a lot of these players not wanting to deal with that. And that's before you get into any kind of COVID concerns.
And when you're an NBA player, you can't creatively plan your days off. Your paid time off, like D'Lo and KC may be able to do around the holidays. Can't air a best of show when you've got a basketball game to play. And I love De'Aaron. We love De'Aaron. It's one thing when De'Aaron Fox says it's ridiculous for the All-Star game to be played. It's a whole other thing when LeBron James is talking about it.
I have zero energy and zero excitement about an All-Star game this year. I don't even understand why we're having an All-Star game. But it's the agreement that the Players Association and the league came about. Short off season for myself and my teammates was 71 days. And then coming to this season, we were told that we were not having an All-Star game. So we had a nice little break, 5 days from the 5th through the 10th, an opportunity for me to kind of recalibrate for the second half of the season, my teammates as well, some of the guys in the league. And then they throw an All-Star game on us like this and just breaks that all the way up. So pretty much kind of a slap in the face. We're also still dealing with a pandemic. We're still dealing with everything that's been going on. And we're going to bring the whole league into one city that's open. Obviously, the pandemic has absolutely nothing to do with it at this point when it comes to that weekend. Obviously, you guys can see I'm not very happy about it, but it's out of my hands. And, I'll be there if I'm selected. But I'll be there physically, but not mentally.
Oh, I don't imagine the league. I love that he said, a city that's open. What he meant to say is, you're going to bring the whole league to a city that's wilding out, huh?
Right.
Right. The whole league to a city like, did y'all see what just happened at the State Farm Arena a couple of days ago with me? Did y'all see that or no? Did y'all miss that segment on Sports Center? House of Highlights? Okay, well, let's keep it moving then. It's got to be, I respect De'Aaron, and I think the league respects De'Aaron, but it's a whole different conversation when LeBron James says something about this All-Star game, and you got to wonder. I do want to point out and not present this in an unfair way. In order for the All-Star game to happen, the Players Association has to sign off for it.
Right.
The Players Association president is one of LeBron James' best friends. It's Chris Paul, one of the most respected players in the league. So Chris Paul isn't negotiating this with Michelle Roberts in the league blindly.
Right.
So it certainly is fascinating to hear LeBron react in such a way to this potential news, but it has to be signed off by the Players Association. It's not like they're going in this blindly.
No. I mean, they I don't want to say it like this, but I mean, they know what they're getting into. They know what they're signing up for. So, yeah, that's what they decided to do as a group.
Yeah, indeed it is. Let's bring in Marshall Harris of CBS 13. Marshall, my brother, what's happening?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Man, we are wonderful, my brother. We're thrilled that you're here with us. We actually just played your back and forth that you had a couple of nights ago with De'Aaron Fox regarding the All-Star game. We followed that up with LeBron James' remarks regarding the All-Star game. What do you think about this potentially well, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's potentially happening. It certainly sounds like it's going to happen on March 7th in Atlanta. What do you think about the response from the players so far?
I was really surprised at what LeBron had to say because I would have thought he would have been one of the big voices weighing in prior to them saying, let's go forward with this. So that caught me off guard. What De'Aaron had to say, nothing about what De'Aaron had to say shocked me because that was kind of like my thought as an individual who's obviously not making any money off of this. But, I always tell y'all when, I think y'all asked me way back when, are they going to make it to the Super Bowl? Are we going to get, I was like, money makes the world go around. They may have to delay the Super Bowl, but there will be a Super Bowl. And here we are, Super Bowl Sunday. They didn't miss any time. They just went straight. They plowed straight through that thing like a blizzard in the Northeast. So the LeBron thing caught me off guard. Now I'm waiting to see the fallout. Like, what happens? Are more players going to be speaking up? Now, I was surprised that no one had kind of brought this up even locally until I had asked De'Aaron that. I'd asked Luke about it, but when I asked him, it had just broke, so he didn't really know much about it. So he was kind of like, I don't know enough to speak on it. Mm-hmm. But, the Kings probably won't have an issue with it because it's not their issue, because to have an issue, you got to have a player playing in the game. And I don't think they're going to do the rookie sophomore, the Rising Stars Challenge, I believe is what they call it. Because Tyrese would obviously be playing in that game.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happening. It's going to be just skills challenges and then the game itself one day in and out. But I feel De'Aaron on what he was saying. We're masked up, having to stay in our hotel rooms on the road. And like, now you want to take us to Atlanta where things are wide open, by the way. I've had several friends not only get the virus. I've had a close personal friend of mine die in Atlanta from the virus itself. It's just, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what we're doing. It's a money play. It's always trail it back to the money. Mm-hmm. But what are we really doing here? So I'm interested to see if they push through with this and go forward with it, because it seems like it's not necessary.
Well,
but profit is always necessary, I guess. I mean, we live in a capitalistic society and money makes the world go round. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's I called it last night when we were on the Vibes, the All-Star game that nobody asked for. Nobody asked for and nobody wanted. And I think they will go through with it. Even with LeBron's comments and De'Aaron's comments for that matter, they just kind of voiced their displeasure, but they both said, we'll be there. To
be clear, De'Aaron said we'll be there because we don't want to get fined. My thing is, as a league, you can't fine somebody from not wanting to go to the All-Star game during a pandemic. You can't.
Yeah, and I have to imagine.
Look.
Yeah,
and it's immoral and it's unethical. It's a bad look.
Casey and I were talking about that a moment ago, as the league didn't find anybody who didn't want to go to Orlando. They didn't find anyone who wanted to sit out in this present version of the NBA season. And so while De'Aaron is correct in what he said, the extenuating circumstances, I have to be led to believe that the NBA wouldn't, at least I certainly hope that they wouldn't, find a player who didn't want to go to Atlanta and be a part of this.
I feel like this would be a perfect time for a player to get voted in or selected as a starter or a backup and be like, I wish somebody would tell me I got to be in Atlanta when my mental health maybe needs this break, and you're just going to have me doing more of the same, shuttling in and out of a city and, the day before and then out the night. And now it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how long the All-Star break is going to be this year, but it doesn't make sense.
The break in terms of days, to answer that question, I believe it's 5 to 10. The time in Atlanta is it's basically Saturday night to Sunday night.
Right. So I know that's, and I just knew they hadn't determined the exact number of days because of the rescheduling of the second half and all that stuff wasn't clear yet. But they're letting guys travel anywhere in the U.S. and we're not talking about just the contiguous U.S. You can go to Puerto Rico, you can go to Hawaii. So I'm just interested to see how all this shakes out. But they're going to play basketball. I don't know if they're going to play the All-Star game, but they're going to play basketball. I just don't see the point in it. And I want to know who the players are. Obviously, we know who the NBPA president is. That's Chris Paul still, right?
Yep.
So he's got to be on board with this. I want to hear more from those guys who want the game to be played.
Right.
Because we've heard enough from the guys who don't. And I think there's going to be a large segment of, I don't know if it's going to be half or more than half, but a large segment of players who don't think the All-Star game is a good idea.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Chris Paul, they play tonight. I need to hear something from Chris Paul tonight. Why he, signed off on this, why he thought it was a good deal. I'm not here to, I need answers, but I don't understand where the thought process was. I would like to know if you have a good reason why, because nobody was asking for this. Like nobody, everybody was resigned to the fact that, hey, no All-Star game this year, even the fans, all the fans, right? Everybody. Nobody was like, oh, we need to figure it. Everybody say, hey, we don't have it this year. It's cool. let's just get through the season. Let's be safe or whatever.
Let's select all-stars.
Yeah, select.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, and keep
well, I feel like the way Adam Silver made it sound is he made it sound like there were some players who were clamoring for this opportunity. So I just need to know who those players are. And like you said, Kenny, I need to find out. Like, I just want to understand. I got to hear. Explain to me. Tell me like I'm a 5-year-old, and let me just process it. Okay.
Yeah. As we shift gears to regular season basketball, the Kings got a big weekend coming up. Obviously, Marshall, you've been watching them as closely as anybody. They're playing some good ball right now, winning 5 of their last 6. But this is a tough weekend ahead with the Denver Nuggets on Saturday afternoon, and then a quick 22-hour turnaround to take on the Los Angeles Clippers in L.A. on Sunday. What do the Kings got to do to kind of keep this ball rolling that they've got going downhill right now?
I'm not one to believe in moral victories. But if they can just find a way to win a game, either game, just find a way to win a game, ugly, pretty, it don't matter. Just find a way to win a game. It will be a successful weekend. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. But I also would say it's a successful weekend, even if they lose both games, but they're in the games and are in a position to compete in the fourth quarter of these games. Yeah. Like I'm not saying, and there's a couple of factors here. I mean, they've already beaten Denver twice, right? Like, Denver is not fully loaded because I think Gary Harris is still hurt, but the stars are back to play. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., obviously Joker. If they could beat Denver 3 times in one season, that's a huge statement, especially with the way Denver's been playing as of late. Yep. And then the Clippers are the Clippers. Find that magic you had coming out of last year's All-Star break when you went down there and got the W. And, do what you got to do to win. They need to win games. Bottom line, if they can just find a way to get a split, as a Kings fan, you got to be ecstatic about that. And even if they play close and lose both games, as long as there's progress being made, like I said, I don't normally talk about moral victories, but over the course of a 72-game season with some of the young guys that you need to see get better, if they're getting better, then, because I think we both agree, both the Nuggets and the Clippers have more talent on the court than the Sacramento Kings. Talent and experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at this and I'm with you, Marshall. They got to find a way to get one game. That would be awesome. But they've exhausted their quota of 25-point losses for the season. That needs to be done. Like it is Mando that you are competitive, this weekend, and they have to find a way to, and like you, it's almost more important than the actual win this weekend, but just showing, hey, we got a pulse. We're here to compete, and we're here to make this step to get to another level against these guys. But yeah, if they lose by 20 or more, like that's super deflating and disappointing. They can't have that happen this weekend.
Yeah, especially because you have one of those games being at home. Like make it happen, man. Sell out to win the Saturday game. Like Sunday doesn't even exist. Yeah, I know a lot of times you get in that situation, especially a back-to-back where you got to travel for that second game. You're like, all right, let's save these guys for tomorrow. No. There is no tomorrow if you're Luke Walton and things look like if you're down 10 in the fourth quarter, leave them dudes in until there's 30 seconds left. And okay, there's no way we're winning this game, because even though you're going to be tired or whatever, the Clippers game, that we can talk about that on Sunday. Yeah. Got to get a win on Saturday if at all possible.
No, I'd even go as far as saying on Saturday, win or lose, I'd tell Kyle Guy on the plane, hey, get ready. Get ready. You're getting some tick on Sunday. All right, be ready, because De'Aaron might play 25 minutes or something on like Sunday. They're playing 2 games within 24 hours. I'm not going all out on Sunday with those starters, with those main guys. And to the fact that they've been pushing hard this last week and a half or so. Kyle Guy, I know Woodard and Jemias are gone, but I might call them up for today. You guys might be getting some ticks soon. Jabari Parker, if we can find you, we got you in the game. Bielitsa, you want to play? We got you on Sunday. All these guys need to be ready to go on Sunday.
Yeah, so like I agree with that for the most part. I will say if De'Aaron has to play, 35, 40 minutes Saturday, I still run him out there for 35, 40 minutes on Sunday. You know why? Because he's young, and that's what he gets paid to do. And that's the bottom line.
There isn't a player on the team that I wouldn't run 30 plus minutes each, 35 plus minutes both nights. Like they could do it. They're out there trying to win games.
Exactly.
You guys say this all the time. I mean, hell, at 16 years old, I did get tired.
No, I'm not saying you don't get tired. I didn't say playing 48 minutes. I said 35 to 40 minutes.
It's a lot of minutes.
And you know who one of my favorite players was growing up? Latrell Sprewell. You know what he did? He led the league in minutes played.
He said he needed more than $14 million to feed his family.
Well, that's true, but he also led the league in minutes played. He was trying to get more money per minute that he was on the court.
One of my favorites was the same thing. Allen Iverson was on the court all the time. So,
exactly.
What do the Kings need to, like, what's the next step for the Kings? Like, we see them doing well. I think that was a quality win despite the absences for Boston. You're making a face. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do we want to go down this road? What's the next step?
Yeah, come on. Let's go.
The next step is the same step as it's always been. What can Marvin Bagley do for me?
Oh, dear.
Okay. I need, at the end of this season, I need a complete evaluation of Marvin Bagley. Okay? And last time I checked, in the ends of all these games and winning, what have they won? 5 of 6?
5 of 6.
Where's Marvin Bagley been in the majority of the fourth quarters of these games?
On the bench.
Socially distanced benched.
So, what's really good? Let me know.
The cry here, man. Yeah, I've been on this mountaintop for a minute. Damian's been there as well. I was saying this way back in I think it was the Pacers game. It's like, put this man in the fourth quarter. What are you guys doing? Now, I'm not saying he has to close the game. But like I said, all week, on J Street Vibes, everything, it's inconceivable to me that you can't find 5 minutes in 5 games for this man in the fourth quarter.
And for me, Kenny, it's not even about like finding time for Marvin Bagley. It's a bottom line question. Who is Marvin Bagley and what is his future with your franchise? Those questions can only be answered when you put the man in the fire. Let's find out what's really good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to know. That's the next step. Because when you said what's the next step, I think you were more alluding to like, what's the next step they need to do to get better and to maybe make it to the 10 spot and then 9.
No, what I meant more was, it's great to beat a shorthanded Boston team, and I'm not going to diminish that win. That was a quality win against a great coach and a great organization. Yeah, it's good to beat Orlando. It's good to beat those teams, but now you're going against the Nuggets. You're going against the Clippers. I know the Nuggets aren't quite where they want to be right now. The Clippers are at the top of the conference. Philadelphia might be the best team in the entire league right now. Those are your next 3 games. If you go out and I don't want to go negative, but what I'm talking about is if you go out there and you get blown out in 2 of these 3 next games, 2 of these next 3 games, like what does that exactly mean for you? Like what did you accomplish if you're going out there and getting whooped by the good teams?
Well, that's why I go straight to Marvin Bagley, because I feel like we know what everybody else on this team is. You know their ceilings and what they are capable of. We don't know what Marvin Bagley is capable of.
Okay,
yet.
So why not then? Let's try that. Why isn't Marvin playing in the fourth quarter?
That's a question for Luke Walton. I guess the bottom line is Luke Walton feels like the players he puts on the court in the fourth quarter give the team the best chance to win. And that's a fair answer. Like you got Tyrese Halliburton, you got Buddy, you've got Rashawn Holmes, you've got obviously De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes. If that's who you want your closing 5 to be, I can't argue with that. But like Kenny said, I'm not saying he has to play the last 3 minutes of the game, but it's not sufficient for him to play, 20-ish minutes and the majority of that coming in the first half and to try to get a real read on what his value can be to this franchise going forward. Now, unless you're trying to sandbag, and maybe that's the case here, unintentional sandbag, not that they're intentionally trying to sandbag and say, go out into restricted free agency and we'll match whatever. And then you can just match it. And because the problem with that is we already know what Papa Bagley is going to say about any and all of that.
Yeah.
You don't want to even go down that road. Don't even want to give him an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Marvin Bagley is fully engaged. He's playing well. He's playing improved. He's showing progress, but you need to see as much of that progress as possible. Maybe not right now because we're only 20 games into the season, but by game 50, you should know what you have. Mm-hmm. Is he a franchise cornerstone? Is he a guy that you're still there's still going to be questions. He's not going to be a fully finished product at the end of the season anyway. But if he's knocking down 35% plus of his threes, that means he can space the floor for De'Aaron to drive and do what he does. And his defense has improved in terms of the lockstep in which he plays within the framework of said defense. He's got to play. He's got to play.
Absolutely.
He's got to get the reps.
Absolutely. You don't get no disagreement from me. I'm saying it. And like you said, not necessarily to close it, but you gotta find some time for him. If you can find some time for Corey Joseph and Glenn Robinson III, you can find some time for Marvin Bagley.
Okay.
They don't play the same position, but I see what you're doing there. I see what you're saying.
You find the time.
Okay. I think my greater concern, which none of us can answer because everything is different. Like it's hard asking Marshall certain questions. It's hard asking Jason Jones certain questions because you guys don't cover the team like you normally do. Like you're not in on certain portions of the practice. You're not around the team, during the day. You're sitting to them you're talking to them the same way we're talking to each other right now through a computer screen. And that's a whole lot different than it used to be. But the question that needs to be answered is just, did something happen in which they lost trust in Marvin Bagley? Is it a collection of what they've seen from him this year that they've lost trust in him? And is it a bigger problem that, a bunch of people in the chat here on the live stream made sure we saw this yesterday, that in the 5 games that he hasn't played in the fourth quarter, they're 4-1 in those or something along those lines. Like those are the questions we need answers to. Is how did we get to this point where you feel like you can't play him?
I think it's clearly a balance of development versus winning now. In a perfect world, you want to do both and prioritize both. They're going to prioritize
But Luke has to win.
But that's what I'm getting to. The priority is developing Bagley and all the young talent on the Kings. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you develop Marvin Bagley if you're not around to see the development and the maturation process through. Which, if Luke Walton doesn't finish in the top 10, y'all can't guarantee me he's back next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Luke Walton has a coach to win when you get to the fourth quarter. We're all about that development the first 3 periods. And then the fourth quarter, if we're in this game, which, of course, he wants to be in the game going into the fourth quarter, all right, it's now time to win. I got to go with the best 5 I can put on the floor to grab this W.
Yeah.
So,
and it's working.
And it is working. And that's why I'm not even complaining. I'm just saying as far as the next step, which is what Damian was alluding to, is, but what about Marvin Bagley? That's the next question that has to be answered with this team. We've answered the Tyrese Halliburton question. We know more about Tyrese Halliburton and his future in the NBA than we do Marvin Bagley right now. And one of them's only been in the league for 20-some games.
And here's the thing that I think you're getting at, Marshall, and we're on the same page with this here. In the grand scheme of things, if the Kings want to get where everybody wants to see them be in the playoffs and, perennially in the playoffs, with this roster, at least, you're not getting there without Marvin Bagley being a factor. So you need to figure out if he can be that guy or you need to move on or whatever the case may be. And you're not going to know that with him on the bench in the most crucial moments or, like I said, in the fourth quarter in general. I have no problem with the closing lineup, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe here and there I'd get Buddy out and put Bagley in, but whatever. But the fact that literally I mentioned it earlier, nobody else on that roster goes a whole quarter without playing.
Yo, it's hilarious. I'm reading some of these comments that you guys have in here. This dude over under is hilarious to me. Listen to this. He says, wonder if the LA radio stations were complaining about Alex Caruso minutes in the fourth quarter or not while winning the NBA title last October. I love when fans have no sense of reality. Winning a title versus a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in going on 15 seasons. Hilarious. Yo, get your mind right, people, in the comments. I love that y'all are listening and want to participate, but we're talking about a team that has not been to the playoffs since some of these people who are listening to your show and watching since they were in grade school. Okay?
A long time.
And we're talking about Alex Caruso versus a number 2 overall pick. Man, if y'all don't take let me not get vulgar on. I don't want to get y'all on the FTC.
Oh, you can say ass. You can say ass. Y'all can say that.
I was saying, if y'all don't calm down and go sit in the corner somewhere, you belong in the comment section.
Wait, we just having over under is just sharing his opinions. That's all it is.
And no one's trying to bench Tyrese Halliburton also.
What he's trying to do, so what he's trying to do is he's equating this into, and what a lot of people are doing, and he's asking the question is, if you're playing Marvin Bagley, whose minutes are you taking away from? And our point has always been, it's not Tyrese. It's another defensive, because if this all boils down to defense, and everybody seems to believe that this boils down on defense, and I really can't believe we have spent this much time on this.
People are hard-headed.
Buddy isn't the most reliable defender out there, but you leave him out there because you know that hope and a prayer that he can get from behind the three-point line in a tight game. It's always conceivable, even if he's 1 for 15, 1 for 16, 1 for 17 at the time. So I get it, but it doesn't mean that we don't pose the questions about why this potential, why this former number 2 overall pick doesn't seem to be a part of Luke Walton's trust circle.
I disagree. I don't think he's not part of Luke Walton's trust circle per se. I just think the third quarter ends, Luke Walton looks at the scoreboard, he evaluates how his team has been playing, and he's like, all right, which money lineup can get me to the finish line tonight? What gives me the best chance?
So KC, before you jump in here, since we ventured into no man's land here in the comments on twitch.tv/ESPN1320 and over on the YouTube page at ESPN 1320, Roddy brings up a great point, and Kenny and I talked about this yesterday. He's shooting for, and I think Deuce was the one who addressed this during our conversation, is Marvin shooting 48% from the foul line. Now you're staring at a potential Marvin, I think Deuce called it Hack-a-Bagley situation, where if you have him out there, you've got a coach who runs that scheme with them.
Absolutely. Once again, I think I've said it. I think you said it, Damian. I think Marshall has said it. I'm not even advocating for him to play in the last 5 minutes of the game. The fact that he does not see a minute in the fourth quarter is my bigger concern. You got Hassan Whiteside out there at the beginning of the fourth quarter who can't make a free throw to save his life. I think he made 2 the other day, though.
He did. Let's give him credit where credit is due.
I mean, from the 12-minute mark to the 9-minute mark, you can't put Marvin in there for 3 minutes? Like that is what is baffling to me. No, once we get to crunch time, like 6 minutes and below, yeah, take him out. Ain't no Hack-a-Bagley, or you got Holmes in there and all this. Cool. No minutes in the last, and numerous times in the fourth quarter this season. That's baffling.
We'll see what happens when the Kings have a back-to-back with the Nuggets and Clippers on Saturday and Sunday. Marshall Harris, CBS 13, you guys got the game. What's the plan this weekend?
So it's a crazy situation. We had the same thing 2 weeks ago with the AFC Championship on our air. The game starts. We're supposed to do a Sports Sunday show from 9:35 to 10 p.m. But if the game runs long, the game is going to run long. Then our show collapses and can go away. And Damien, you've been a part of that before. You know exactly what that means. So we're going to plan a show for you guys with Sarah Hodges and myself, but I'm not dragging anybody else into it and then telling them, oh, yeah, by the way, we don't have a show.
I believe, KC, we one year had a 1 hour post NCAA championship game special with like 20 guests. Yeah. That collapsed so far. We all got on the stage and did a 3-minute segment together. 20 people.
That's crazy. I'm baffled by the fact that you guys are planning for this broadcast to go 6 hours, like the Super Bowl.
Yo, they got stuff all day. They got stuff all. They got concerts and pregame shows on pregame shows and everything else.
The actual game 3:30 to 9.
Stick around after the game. Marshall Harris, CBS 13. He may have a 30-minute show. He may have a 30-second show, but stick around and see him. Marshall, we always appreciate you, my friend. And more than anything else, we appreciate everybody listening and watching. Thank you for another fantastic week. Make sure you're following twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Never know when we're going to pop up over the weekend. Follow us on YouTube as well at ESPN 1320. And, of course, our channels on Twitter and Facebook. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you here next week on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Go Kings. What's this chat talking about, man?
I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't have gone. I should
bet.
Never read the comments. I know the rules. I know the rules. Never read the comments, but sometimes you just gotta let.
No, they would pop.
And I appreciate all you commenters. Thanks for taking part, yo. Y'all give me something to laugh at. I like to laugh. You know,
they were popping.
They took the pressure off of KC from getting clowned today. They really did.
I definitely wouldn't have got clowned, and it took the pressure off of you trying to tell the people what's your favorite Super Bowl moment. No Bills.
Listen, man, we're not gonna talk about the Bills, okay? The Bills are the Bills. That's just a part of my life that I keep in a closet somewhere, and every once in a while I open the closet and I see skeletons. That's why we don't talk about the Buffalo Bills.
Look, the Bills are heading in the right direction, though.
Are they? Just to tease you? Just to?
I don't know if they got what it takes to beat the Chiefs. That's the only problem, but they're headed in the right direction.
So basically, you're saying they're never getting out of the AFC unless Patrick Mahomes gets hurt.
Man. I don't want
to. That's a reality, right?
I don't want to look at it like that, but damn. Oh,
look, I always read the comments because I love trolls. I love trolls. If I could go to a troll farm and pick the trolls and harvest them, I would, because they bring me joy. And then cook them up, make something nice. You know, like the way my mom and my grandma my grandmother had a pecan tree in her front yard. She's like, "You want a pecan pie? Go shell some pecans. I'll make you a pecan pie." That's how I treat the trolls. I harvest the trolls, and I make up a pie, and they're delicious. Delicious.
So, Damien, go back to that last one you had where Over Under talks about. See, this is what happens when you don't listen, right? Because
listening comprehension is lost on it, man.
Anything about Marvin closing game? We never even said get Halliburton out.
Go work on your golf stroke, dog, because you get the earwax out. Use the tip of the golf club to clean out your ears. Okay, can you do that? Okay, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I clown people. This is what I do. I got jokes. And also, Leezy Twitch, I'm sorry that Damien doesn't read your comments. I will read your comments. I got you.
What? Oh, there he goes. We can hear you, Damien.
Why can't we hear him?
Where you at? Oh. So I think Over Under muted Damien's mic. Over Under.
That's one way to handle it.
But yeah, no. So look, this is what I was saying, Marshall, real quick. You guys are the mic is gone, Damien. It is gone. It's my show now.
Go ahead and say what you're gonna say, Casey.
So they're planning not the pregame and everything, but a Super Bowl game broadcast of 3:30 to 9.
No. It's not 3:30 to 9. It's 3:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
After 6:30, The Equalizer comes on. That show based on the Denzel, but starring Queen Latifah. Because NFL is where you put your primetime stuff coming right after. That's how you get your primetime off and right. People now know about Queen Latifah doing The Equalizer, and then they'll start watching every week because they love the first episode. This is how we do it. And then the news comes on, and I come on after the news.
Got you. I thought they were trying to lead you guys right out of the
Yo, they're killing Damien right now. They are letting this man ride. He is the strong silent type. That's how I see Damian Barling.
We got here on D-Lo and KC today. We were joined by Damian Barling here, and we enjoy our interview here with Damian Barling. And
it's not just Damian Barling.
I'm good.
I was about to talk about the mime version of Damian Barling. Have you do a little stuck in a glass case type deal? No, but seriously, I appreciate y'all having me on. I'm glad y'all got this up with the comments. Comments are always great. They spice things up.
I love them.
Nah, man, they're a blast, yo. They even hang out when we lose audio to the stream. So they do a tremendous job, man. They've done a great job helping us build these social channels and hanging around after the show is over, doing the show after the show. So it's cool, man. And then Deuce has been a big help. So Deuce, if you're still in there, Deuce and Mo, we appreciate you. I assume Deuce is probably about to play a video game on Twitch or something.
Hi, Deuce. Hi, Mo. Love you guys. Also, all the people in the comments, y'all can go hit me up at @mharrisonair on all social media platforms. Got to get my self-serving out there. That's on everything. That's from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook to Twitter. @mharrisonair.
Do we have a preview of the word of the day?
I'm off today, so there's no word of the day today. I do have this. Next week, I'm using a word that's 29 letters long in my sportscast. So there's that.
Okay.
People want to play with me like I can't do things. I can do whatever I want. That's the beauty of being me. So that's what I got. But I'll let you guys roll. Thanks for having me as always. I'm gonna get both of y'all on my show soon when we get a real time where we know we're actually gonna have a show. So get ready for that ask. Okay.
Always. You know that.
Wow. TikTok famous like a 17-year-old. Hey, look, don't hate on my good skin because I look like I'm 17. Don't hate on my good skin.
You got great skin.
I'm crack.
Marshall
great
doing
skin.
I'm 8.
challenge.
I'm gonna look like this till I'm KC's age. You know what I'm saying?
I got beautiful skin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Beauty is
wow.
definitely in the eye of the beholder.
Y'all are wild.
Marshall,
I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all
All
have
right,
a
man.
great Friday. Everybody have a great
We good.
weekend.
We
Like I said,
appreciate you.
we
Thanks,
just don't
man.
need Marshall doing the silhouette challenge. All right, that's the last thing we need.
Bro, I bugged out when I saw that for the first time. I was like, oh, okay. We doing this, huh? They keep coming up with these daggone challenges.
Man, what I wonder what the next one is going to be, because
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that one though.
Yeah, silhouette challenges.
I wasn't expecting that one. That was legit. Man, thank y'all for another exciting week. This is our first full week of streaming, man. So thank you. It doesn't, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. The YouTube stuff is really important. And Deuce, I don't know if you're still there, man, but thanks for kind of giving me a heads up on how to do the thumbs up, because the more people that like the video, the more people that see the video. It's just like all these other social media platforms. So anytime you guys log in to watch, if you could hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do that. Do all of the same stuff that you do on Twitch as well, man, and we appreciate y'all. And who knows, man, Kings grab a win or two this weekend. We might have to jump on here.
I'm telling you. Let me see. Where am I going to be at on Saturday? I think I'm going to be good on Saturday. Like I said, if they win on Sunday.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I might
be legit.
I might do a vibes all through the Super Bowl.
Okay. Okay. Red cup and all. I mean, it's Friday. It's 2:00. We're technically off. Like, I might go get my red cup now.
Come on, man. Come
on. Of course,
on.
the dictator, our producer, Jesse, says we've got to cut promos first. Jesse, dude, you be thinking you be like, Jesse's that dude who, like, you'll be thinking that your day is over, like your work day is over, and then the boss stops and says, hey, hang on, man, I need to see you for a second. And all of a sudden
it just dumps work on your table.
Yeah, dumps work on the table. So we're gonna go cut those promos, man. We appreciate y'all again. We'll end this broadcast. Again, make sure you subscribe, follow, do all of that fantastic stuff there. And we'll see y'all again here real soon, hopefully over the weekend. Because if you see us over the weekend, that means Kings won.
Yes.
Yes, I appreciate y'all.